and will beat your ass. Don't get it twisted now. You know, I think I'm just a very consistent, good athlete. I can do a lot of different sports. I don't think a lot of people on earth have that mix of sports.
It was random.
No, honestly, I got an associate's degree in high school at a college called St. Petersburg College, and I think I was like 14 and finished at 15. I got a 4.0 magna cum laude of the school. So I know how to study. So my next opponents, I know how to study. I'm studying you, and that's what I picked up. Winning is happening, so is losing. So when you see someone who's continuously winning, there's something they're doing. There's something that they've mastered. There's a recipe. You could plug anything into it. It could be business, football, MMA. There's a recipe, and I know the recipe. So I know the power of belief from a kid. It felt crazy. I'm a homeschooled kid with no prospects of any of that dream.
Right.
And boom, just like that, I'm in that dream in the biggest stage with the biggest team. That just opened my mind even more. If you work and you have a goal and you don't let the world break it down, you can do some amazing things.
Mile High Minute, #1 blog in the universe, man. Today, I'm with a very special guest, Regan Upshaw Jr. II. He's a national championship football player at Clemson and an amateur MMA fighter who will be pro here soon. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great, man. Thank you for coming through.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Thanks for, giving me the opportunity to sit down and tell your story a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we at Havoc right now.
Yep.
Havoc MMA in Westminster, Colorado. And this is just a typical day. A lot of training going on, a lot of guys working. I'm actually preparing to get into another fight camp and put on another great performance.
So when you say fight camp, like just getting ready to...
So I would say in fight camp, you just really narrow it down on your opponent and really prepare for that particular fight. When I'm out of camp, I'm just trying to level up my whole game in general. And so, we're finding a name and we're about to get active.
What's the difference between narrowing down and like focusing on your opponent versus just, like you said, trying to get better?
I think honestly, you're always trying to get better. You're always trying to level up, whether you're in fight camp, whether you're not in camp. But the training gets much more specific based on the film, based on the guy you're fighting. And, every opponent's different. You got to approach everybody, of course, always being you, but, approach everybody with a different strategy sometimes. Not everybody's the same opponent. So.
And you said you're looking for an opponent right now?
Yes, we got a few names we're looking for. So.
How does that work?
So actually, my coach handles all that. My agent and my coach handle all that. I just signed up to fight.
You want to shout out your coach real quick?
I want to shout out Rich Morchecho. Coach Rich is one of the best coaches, I would say, in the world, man. He's one of the most loyal human beings I've met. Will put you on, has given me so much, and actually has one of the best gyms, one of the most up-and-coming gyms in the world as far as martial arts. And we got a crazy team, a bunch of savages on the team, and I am one of them. So Rich has given me a lot. He's been with me every step of the way, and we won every fight, and we're going to continue to shine. So
okay, what's your record?
My record's 4-0 in kickboxing.
Okay,
5-0 if you catching. Not in the ring, but yeah, 5-0. Okay. I'll say 5-0. Yeah.
Wait, you mean to say it one more time? Like
no, just some other fight. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all good. But I'm actually the Sparta kickboxing champ, and now we're doing MMA. I've been training MMA for a good amount of time, and we're making that jump, and we're about to take over the scene.
Oh yeah. Okay, you say Sparta. I'm pretty sure Archie Cogan was.
I believe Archie fought at Sparta.
Yeah. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, about Archie?
Sparta.
Well, Sparta. Sparta is an awesome promotion. They've shown me love from the get. I think they like how I fight. I know they like how I fight. Actually, my last fight, I got a fight of the night, performance of the night.
Okay.
First round, KO, and I also won their belt for kickboxing. So, I'm gonna win a few more of their belts in MMA.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And then Art, since we're on the topic with Archie, I think he's definitely at least 12-0. I know he's
a beast. I know that. Yeah.
Have you got a chance to talk to him? Or
I've got a chance to talk to Archie very briefly. He's coming in to train at Havoc. Yeah. Always super respectful, tough guy, extremely explosive, really good athlete. And I think he's just from what I've seen, a very constant professional. So I can really respect that. And as you see, the results don't lie. You said, undefeated, balling outrageous. So keep doing your thing, man.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about how you got into MMA, and I feel like in order to do that, we kind of got to dive in your background.
For sure.
So, originally from Florida, Tampa.
I'm
right?
from Tampa, but I've moved all over. I've lived in Virginia, I've lived in California, of course Tampa, and I went to college in South Carolina. So I've been all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then growing up, you played like rugby and hockey and stuff, right?
I played hockey, I played rugby, I played football. I think I'm just a very consistent, good athlete. I can do a lot of different sports.
Yeah.
And I think that's more than anything. I think that's why martial arts, I've really picked it up very quickly because I've been using my body, using that brain body connection since I've been a kid with all different types of sports and activities. I've been performing, so
Right.
this is no different. If you can learn quick and you're humble and you got a good team, you can really do well in martial arts.
Right. Okay. Are there like, what things have you kind of correlated from like rugby, hockey, football into, the
I think
MMA?
the mix is crazy because I don't think a lot of people on earth have that mix
Right.
of sports.
It was random. Yeah,
No,
but I seen
honestly,
it. It
it's
was random.
insane. And I became pretty good at all of them. I'd say that hockey, I'll break down hockey. I think hockey, you have to be so coordinated, especially as a kid. So you're building that hand-eye coordination. Your stick handling, you're always looking, you're really developing your eyes. And hockey work ethic is crazy at a young age. You're grinding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're pushing at a young age, and competing, so hockey breeds a certain amount of toughness and athleticism, balance, and developing your eyes. I say rugby is extremely tough on your body and mentally and physically. At the end of the day, there's no pads and you're running full speed into people, trying to run them over, tackle them. And, you can't sub out in rugby. So if you sub out, you're out the game. So you're going that whole time. I think that builds your gas tank for fighting. You know what I mean? Building your gas tank, and that just, it could be dirty. It can be grimy.
Yeah.
And, rugby, you still go. So in football, especially at the level I played, I think it's prepared me for, the lights that I will be stepping into. In the UFC. I've already been in front of thousands and thousands of people. I've already been a part of national championship teams. I've already been competing with some of the best athletes in the world and making my name. I think that's the biggest thing I gained from football, as well as just really knowing how to be good at time management and believe in yourself, man. Because football is one of those sports where you can be good all you want, but you got to take advantage of your opportunities, no matter how big or small they are. And I think that's the same thing with fighting. Everyone gets a shot. Some are bigger, some get more opportunities, some get smaller. But with your window, you got to make it shake. You got to make some shake. So, I'm very confident, especially going to this career I'm in now.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know, your dad was a first round draft pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe pick number 12, 96. And that's, I'm assuming, how you ended up born in Tampa.
Born in Tampa, yeah.
So given, your dad being an NFL football player, he played in the Super Bowl, versus the Raiders. Did you, like, growing up, like, what made you not want to play football and like focus on the other sports? Before obviously you ended up playing, but
so I think I did. I think it just, when you're a kid, what sports are available to you? Hockey became available to me. I think I met a friend who played hockey and I wanted to play. It was just that simple. I definitely wanted to play football as well. Football is a great sport, a super tough sport. But yeah, hockey was my first love, and I definitely, jumped into that first.
That's dope. How old were you when the Super Bowl, when he played in the Super Bowl? Do you remember it?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember how old I was.
Yeah. Were you there?
I've been in more than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What I remember is, being in the Raiders, locker room as a kid, or meeting some players and in the locker room as a kid, or being in the Redskins locker room, stuff like that, being in the facility. That's more of what I remember. I wouldn't say I remember the games as much, but just going to work, going to work with dad, kind of thing.
It's, what's interesting, obviously he was drafted by the Bucks, but then, he actually ended up in the Super Bowl with the Raiders.
Yeah.
So did he ever talk about that?
Oh, we love the Raiders, man. Raider Nation. So I would say that the fondest years definitely were playing with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Most of my family's from California. from the Bay Area in Los Angeles. So that really was special, and Raiders culture is different, It was a different brand of football. Legendary team, legendary brand of football. Real violent brand of football. So that's what we like the Raiders.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So what were some of those memories though as a kid in the locker room? Like, do you remember maybe being around any special players, maybe a Tim Brown or,
to be honest, no, man. You're a kid. You don't know. You just, know people are cool. And just being in the environment is normal. You know what I mean? Everything's normal. And that's what your life was from the beginning,
You said your family was from California. I think your dad won a championship and they beat like LaSalle.
LaSalle,
and
yeah.
It was like
Pittsburgh.
Their first loss or their last loss before they won like 100 and some shit.
Yeah. It was a crazy. Yeah. So my dad, he played at Pittsburgh High School.
Yeah. Pittsburgh
legend. And they beat De La Salle. I do remember that. Yeah. That was a big thing for sure.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. When it comes to your career, what people don't know is you actually didn't play football like in high school, like organized football and stuff like that until Clemson, right?
Yeah. So I started to, and then my brother and I and my sister were homeschooled, so they didn't know all the rules for us to compete in high school sports. So no, I was playing rugby, like club rugby, and I was traveling overseas to play rugby.
Yeah.
But no, Clemson was, I happened to go to the Clemson football camp, and that's where I really made a name for myself and got opportunity. Yeah. On some random vibes, you know what I mean?
Like y'all just were driving there?
Yeah, my dad and mom were driving to drop my sister off at some camp, not related to sports or anything.
Oh, okay.
And they just happened to stop in town and see there was a Clemson football camp going on.
Yeah.
And they asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said yeah. So I went to the camp. I was messing up so many drills in the beginning.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm a quick learner, and I picked up things pretty quick. And the next practice we had, I started doing better. The next I started making some noise, and I got an opportunity shining with a few thousand kids. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
And so you ended up walking on there.
I got a preferred walk on, and then I earned a scholarship. And was on scholarship for the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get an associate's degree?
I got an associate's degree, in high school, at a college called St. Petersburg College. And I think I was like 14, when I first started and finished at 15 or something. I think I got a 4.0 magna cum laude, of the school. So I know how to study.
Solid student.
Yeah, solid student. So my next opponents, I know how to study. I'm studying you.
So how was that then? Because you ended up playing, 4 or 5 years at Clemson, right?
I played 6 seasons, actually. So because of the COVID year and 1 redshirt year. So I was there for 6 seasons.
Did you end up getting like a bachelor's, master's?
Yep, I got a bachelor's in economics.
Okay. Was it, given that you had already gotten your associates, was it a little like easy? I don't want to say easy, but just like.
I think that football is a full-time job.
Fair enough.
And at that level of winning national championships and going to the playoffs for 5 years or 6 years straight, I think that football takes up so much time that no matter what your degree is, it's going to be challenging to keep up. You know what I mean? So, no, it was still challenging because all your time's gone. You know what I mean? You got a test, but can you study for that test? You got that playbook. So,
Okay. Well, I can see that being a benefit, though, the fact that you already knocked out, like.
For sure.
At least your associates.
I know how to study, which definitely gave me, definitely helped me out. But I'm not going to lie to you. My first season when I got there, since I had knocked out my associates, I wasn't really doing school.
Yeah.
For like a few years before I went to Clemson, I was kind of chilling at the school. Yeah. So I had to get back in the mix of, getting used to with that schedule for sure.
Right. Okay. So you said you had a red shirt freshman year?
Yeah.
Was that the year, the first national?
That was the first national championship.
So did you get a ring and everything?
Yeah, I think I have 12 or 13 rings.
Yeah.
1 national championship ring, 2 national championship rings, and a bunch of ACC championship rings, and college football play. Yeah, we were there.
Clemson was wild.
Yeah, we got active. Yeah. That team was loaded, and I think like lightning in a bottle. Sometimes it's just the perfect circumstances of talent,
right?
Mentality, coaches. You had the perfect amount of love in the program with the perfect amount of, real grind and work ethic. So it just was a beautiful mix.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I was definitely pulling for y'all because I did not want to see Alabama.
No, nobody would see. Nobody would see that.
Tired of it,
We're from a small town, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. So we put on a show.
So I remember I can't remember which year, but y'all blew them out. It was like 40-something to 60.
Yeah.
Was that the first or the second?
No, that was the second. No, the first one was in Tampa.
Okay.
And it was we won at the last. I believe like the last second. Hunter Renfrow
or something.
Huh?
Was it versus Florida State? Or
No, it was Alabama.
Yeah.
And Hunter Renfrow caught a game-winning catch. I think it was like last second of the legendary.
And Trevor Lawrence was both, right? He was QB for both, right?
No, that was Deshaun.
Deshaun Watson.
Then Trevor. Yeah.
Okay. I really remember the Trevor Lawrence one where y'all blew out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
My homie was an Alabama fan, and I was like, nah.
We were cooking.
He was so mad. Okay, so, and I think, your senior year, you went out, won the Cheez-It Bowl in 2021. What was, I guess, your overall, the time like for you in playing college football? What did you pick up the most from winning,
I grew up and I learned how to manage myself under extreme, pressure and stress and being a part of such a winning program. There's a certain standard at every level of if you're of a team that continues to win. Winning is a habit, and that's what I picked up. Winning is a habit, and so is losing. So when you see someone who's continuously winning, there's something they're doing. There's something that they've mastered. There's a recipe. And Clemson, I learned the recipe of winning, and what it takes is extreme commitment to the little things every day, and extreme belief, and that's what's carried me in this new game I'm in. Belief. One, I'm committed. You can ask anybody in Clemson. You could ask my head coach. Regan is, in his words, one of the most unique individuals we've ever had here, and I'm a gamer, and so at the end of the day, belief will carry you far. And that's how we beat Alabama at that time. Belief. You could look at that whole roster. If you looked at the whole Alabama roster every time, it was stacked. But how is this little school with not the most 5 stars, not the 4 stars, ACC coming and whooping and working?
Right.
And it's belief and work ethic and love. Love for your teammates, love for what you do, love for the process. And there's no different. Like I said, the recipe of winning, you could plug anything into it. It could be business. It could be football.
Yeah.
It could be MMA. There's a recipe, and I know the recipe.
That's dope. Yeah. I like how you could, intertwine it with the MMA and really have it impact your career here. Yeah. And I could see the confidence, and I believe in you just by hearing what you're saying, and obviously the work speaks for itself.
Facts, for sure.
So I think y'all won 6 ACC champ from 2014, 2020. Did y'all win?
Yeah, I think honestly, the whole time I was there, we won the ACC every year. Yeah. So 6 straight.
Okay. And then you were number 53. Was there a specific reason?
No, actually, that was just some of the numbers available, and I just stuck with it when I was a freshman and I just wanted to stick with my number,
I feel like it's pretty solid, linebacker.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I just liked it. No one really had it. Yeah. And, so I stuck with that number. Yeah.
And you played linebacker and D-end, right?
I played linebacker and D-end.
What was there any other positions you consider, or why those positions?
Those were the positions that coaches would put me at.
Right. Yeah.
And special teams. You know what I mean? So linebackers, special teams, D-end. So that's what I was on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any really specific memories about winning the national championship? Because I feel like that's any kid's dream who plays sports wants to do that. That's
100%. And 100%. It just showed me, once again, the power of belief. I remember being in high school and wanting to play football. And for whatever reason, I wasn't allowed to play football. I wasn't, my parents, they weren't going that route. Right. And so I remember going to the field on my own, no team, no cleats, and just doing drills. Or I would look who's the strongest person at my position, which I thought I'd be linebacker. And I'd look on rivals.
Defensively.
Yeah, defensively. I'd look at who's the strongest at my position. What's their bench press? What's the squat? And I would hit those numbers. And I ended up breaking records in Clemson for bench press and squat. So I seen all that thing as a 14-year-old of what I wanted. And I didn't even have a clear opportunity. How are you going to say you're going to play on a national championship team? You're going to become a captain. You're going to break records, in the weight room. And you're also going to be a strength conditioning All-American. You're going to lead and help, and shape the culture of a team. And you're not playing that sport. And at 14, I wanted to do that. And then you look up, now I'm at 18 and I'm winning the national championship, part of the best team in the country at my home at Tampa. So I know the power of belief from a kid. So no one has to tell me. And then the funny thing is going to a camp where you're not playing the sport and thousands of kids who were invited and 5-star and getting noticed by the head coach pulling up on me as I'm doing a drill and then calling me to the office. You know, I do know something about manifesting. I do know something about belief. I do know that. Yeah, and this is no different. You know, so how did that feel? It felt crazy because I'm a homeschool kid with no prospects of any of that dream.
Right.
And boom, just like that, I'm in that dream at my crib, you know, in the biggest stage with the biggest team.
Right.
And that just opened my mind even more. Like, hey man, you can control this, you know, your belief goes along. If you work and you have a goal and you don't let the world break it down, you know, break down your belief, you can do some amazing things, you know? So that's what I think.
Do you have any like specific memories maybe with Coach, I might pronounce
Dabo
Swinney, right?
Yes. You know what? Dabo is a man of conviction, and Dabo is a consistent person. What you see is what you get. And especially as I get older, I gain even more respect for, you know, at the end of the day, 18 you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now I'm a grown ass man and I can really appreciate the type of man and how he ran that business. And man, it's difficult to stay at the top and to handle that pressure and continue to perform and continue to run a machine that big. So I have a lot of respect for Dabo. I think Dabo, what I can take is how repetitive he is. And when he, like I said, believe, he'll talk for hours.
Yeah.
He'll talk literally for hours. We'll be the game, but the day before the game, we'll finish a movie and he'll talk about all the things we talked about all week. But it just kind of shows it's almost like brainwashing you into a belief nonstop. Now everyone believes. You got 100 and something people believe something and we go to war, you know, you can make something special happen.
Right.
You know, so
I know like people, or at least ESPN, you know, they might give him flack for his opinions on like the new NIL or whatever. Or,
hey man, if you're doing well, you're always going to have haters.
Right.
And if you don't have haters, like they said, you ain't popping. No, for real. Like, because, you know, nobody at the end of the day, it takes a really solid person to see someone who's doing better than them and be like, you know what, man, respect to that. And they put in the work. Right. Most people don't want to see that. Most people, they need to find something. You know, he can't be that committed. He can't be, you know, and no, it's the truth, man. That dude is committed.
Right.
You get what you earn.
I mean, not every coach can win one national championship, let alone two, and go
right.
If there was like one gem you remember him saying though, that like has stuck with you for your life though, or
there's something. There's one, bloom where you're planted. That's one of them. Bloom where you're planted. You know, like even if you're a seed and you're planting a crack of concrete, you can still bloom. You know what I mean? And basically just say,
you'd be a perfect example.
That's what I'm saying. You know, play your cards. You know.
So okay, college ends right 2021, right?
When did it end?
Yeah, for you.
2022.
Okay, 22. Was your last game the Cheez-It Bowl or did you play? Okay.
Cheez-It Bowl.
So what happened after that? Like obviously you're here in Denver now, but like what was the plan after that? Did you try playing the NFL?
No, honestly, football, I understood football has a lot of great things to the game. But what attracted me to MMA is the freedom in it. Like, you know, you can be who you want in MMA. You can have your opinion. You've seen all the characters saying the craziest to the minimum. You can be whoever you want. And football is, like I said, it's more like a corporate America. It's more of, you know, there's what you can do, what you can show. And not everything you see is always what it is. You know, if you just watch interviews for most players, it's very cookie cutter. And that's okay. But you know, I had done that for enough. I want to be. I
appreciate you being raw. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I want to be raw. I want to be Regan Upshaw, to the truest. And like, you know, hey, don't you want to, if you're a fan, don't you want to see that? Don't you want to see authenticity? You know, really what shapes this person to where he got.
Mm-hmm.
In football, I don't think you can always show that. And,
right.
you know, also football is a very, like I said, there's so much talent in football. So if we have a room where everyone was the number one player in the nation, well, who's playing? If we all did camp and everyone's stats were the same, now who's playing?
Right.
Who I want to play, who I like, right? So if that's who's playing, now we're not talking about results necessarily. We're just like, I like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I did see in that level.
Team sports.
Yeah, and I'm not one of those dudes who's gonna be bitter. Like, hey, I'm not gonna be bitter. You know, go where you are valued.
I respect it because I've been bitter.
No, but you gotta let that go. You gotta let that go because guess what? There's favoritism in everything.
Right.
And in fighting, look, I stepped in this game and I'm getting favoritism.
Right.
So I can't hate on it. Like, hey man, shine. You gotta go where you're valued high. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where you fit the prototype. In football, do I feel that fit the prototype? I fit parts of it, but ultimately not all the way. No. In fighting, MMA, I fit the prototype. I got the look. You know, I got the explosiveness. Since I stepped in this game, I've gotten love from some of the top coaches, training partners. I've gotten a lot of love, and that's how you know you're in the right, what you're supposed to be doing. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. You know, shine on to the dudes who are doing that, for real. You know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So after football, you start MMA like right away pretty much? What was kind of that process?
I went to a local gym.
Okay.
I went to a local gym. That was such a long journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I was more of like, and just enjoying life, eating some food, chilling for, I was like, man, I'm eating some food. I'm chilling, I'm chilling. And then I was like, all right, we need to get back into,
new path.
Once you get into just that chill mode, that's not me,
not good, yeah.
So, I went to a local gym and was kind of just doing it on and off. And like I said, I remember I came up with a word, for the year, which at Clemson we do. Come up with a word for the year, and my word was elevate. I want to elevate my life, and I remember watching a UFC event, and I believe Jamal Hill won the belt and won the title, and I remember seeing that and being like, man, I know I could do this. Like I know, and just like I knew I could play at that level of football, and so I started looking. Online watching videos of MMA, and I remember seeing this one room that was stacked with a lot of top guys in the game of MMA, and on the wall it said team elevation, and I said, and that's all I need to see. So my word was elevate. It said team elevation, and I'm a straight shooter. If I see opportunity, and with my past of what's been proven to me, I'm shooting. And so I moved on to Colorado and went to train with high altitude martial arts, and they had a team. Their pro fight team was Team Elevation. So that's what brought me to Colorado to train. Yeah.
So were you doing like research or something?
Yeah, I saw
in Colorado.
I saw all the research I needed to see with that room. The room stacked, and a lot of top ranked guys in the UFC. And I'm not someone to play with something. If I said I wanted to be, I don't have ass things per se. You know what I mean? Right. I want to be a UFC fighter. I want to be champion. That's it. I don't want to be a guy, Right. No, I'm not a guy in the room. I want to be the one. And, so that's why I moved out to where all the ones were.
Right.
And, yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm more confident than ever.
Yeah. Did you fight anywhere else or
no.
It's pretty much been.
No, I started, my first fight was here in Colorado. My first smoker was here. I'm with the same coach that I rode with from that gym. And now we've got Havoc MMA. But yeah, Colorado is my base,
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the MMA space, you're
I'm in the right spot.
Yeah.
I'm in the right spot.
Yeah. Speaking of someone who's one of those fighters, obviously Brandon Royval, he's the #1 fighter right now in the UFC. What's it like being, have you picked up some good game from any of the other fighters?
I have picked up so much game from so many different fighters. Brandon Royval, more than just fighting, what I can pick up from Brandon Royval is how he carries himself. He's such a good dude. So humble. Is so giving to the community.
And will still beat
will beat your ass. Don't get it twisted now. Yeah, no, he's a game dog. No, Brandon Royval's a game dog, and he's got crazy cardio. Cardio's a weapon. And I take that personally too. Like, cardio is a weapon. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
You know, you can have all the skill in the world, but if you can grind somebody out,
Right.
and I think that's a talent I have too.
I think that's a good thing to point out because in his last fight with Tyra, Tetsuo Tyra, I was watching.
Yeah, and he trains here too.
Yeah. Oh, he does. Okay.
That's why it's a small community.
Yeah,
And it's a good relationship from what I've seen. Like, he trained at high altitude. Brandon Royval trained. He spars at high altitude. Like, bro, this is such a small community of top guys. He comes out. Tatsuro, he trained his camp here.
Oh, okay.
So it's a crazy.
I think I do remember Royval mentioning something about them training.
Yeah.
What I noticed in that fight was Tyra was kind of getting him at first. He was getting some good licks in, but like you said, the endurance of Royval really started to show those last couple rounds. Like
championship rounds.
Yeah.
Championship rounds.
And I hope he gets, not to make it, himself, I hope he gets a chance to, get
for sure. He deserves it.
Sure.
He deserves it.
Right.
Man, he deserves it.
Okay, so all right, obviously we're here at Havoc MMA. Yeah. How did this gym come together? And you kind of helped.
For sure.
Help with that, right?
I'm definitely in the mix of the base team. So, Havoc MMA. So my coach, Rich, he was a big part of high altitude, of running their striking program. And he brought a lot of energy to that program. And he was also my first coach here. Some things happened at that business. I won't get into that aren't my business, but he left the gym, and that was my coach. So I rolled with my dog, and we ended up training for fights. He was helping me train in my apartment complex gym.
Yeah,
we trained at the park.
Yeah,
we ended up once we got a steady space, we ended up training at a barn actually. And so we'd be training at the barn. We have this same group of guys that came with us, and we had a lot of fight camps at the barn.
Like the barn, what do you explain?
That's what we call it. It's literally a barn.
Like a farm?
Like a farm and a barn. and we called it the barn. So, and they had some mats down, and we wrestled there, do some striking. He'd hold mitts for me there. And so that was where we started. And then we're looking for different properties we could expand to a gym. And, one thing that my coach and I really relate with is, he's a believer too. He believes in himself, and he's a gamer. We didn't get a small space. We didn't get a tiny gym. We moved away from that area. We got the biggest gym in Colorado. And we let our nuts hang. That's why I said we let our nuts hang. Yeah, we got the biggest gym in Colorado, and we said we're going to be the best fight team in the world. And we are on that way.
Just random question. I played basketball at a barn in high school.
Okay.
It was over in like Westminster. It was like, we called it the barn too. It's probably something different though.
No. What did it look like?
It was like, there was like blue, it was like a blue flooring. It was like basketball stuff. I could see how it could maybe be turned into like some MMA gym.
Yeah. No, this was on somebody's house, like literally property. But you had your own barn.
Right. Yeah. All right. So I seen you were signed to Vienna Talent.
Vienna Talent.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. My agent, Evan is awesome. So basically one of the reasons I wanted to partner with Evan and Vienna Talent is a few things. I was offered a few different contracts from top agencies in MMA. But what I really liked about Evan is Evan was very straightforward. He wasn't pushy. We had constant talks for about a year and a half. And he just went to show what he could bring to the table, and was just very respectful. And as someone who knows what a winning team is, I knew he'd be a great addition to my team, and I want to work with him. I like Evan as a person, and he also is about his business. He'll go get opportunities. He's dedicated to the journey of developing what it takes to develop as a top fighter. So he's flown me out on trips to go train with other gyms. I just got back from training with Eve Edwards, who's a legend in MMA in Texas, and he's dedicated, and he sees the vision. So I love the time I've had with Vienna Talent. Yeah, so Evan and Quinn Nelson started an agency, and I'm their only MMA fighter.
I noticed that because I was looking. I see a bunch of football players. Yeah, but that's dope though.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that's cool because I know football does a few things really good that MMA can catch up with, and I know what I'm valued. I know what I'm worth. and I like the communication we've had. So
Right.
they're doing a great job.
I'm gonna get back to MMA, but your brother plays at Arizona, right?
He played at
He
Arizona.
played? Okay,
Yep.
he finished.
Yeah.
And Michigan, you said?
Yeah, he played at Michigan as well for 5 years.
Did he win a national championship?
He did not win a natty. No, he wasn't there for that. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they did get a Big Ten. They did beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
He actually got a pick to end the game in one of the.
Okay.
Yeah. So
who were like your Mount Rushmore UFC fighters? If you could name like 4 or 5 that you really like model your game after, or maybe
model my game I can respect.
Yeah.
I like John Bones Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Because of his mentality, and that is what makes him so dangerous. He knows how to win, and like I already talked about, and he's tough. He's very tough, very smart. He's a very smart fighter. I like Yuri Prohaska. That's a wild mix. I like how Yuri Prohaska fights. He fights very authentic, which is hard to read. I think everybody tries to not everybody. Not everybody tries to fight cookie cutter sometimes. And cookie cutter is predictable. So if everybody's doing the same combos and same, there is a response to that. But if you're seeing someone do something very unorthodox, which Yuri fights like, man, it's hard to predict. How do you train for a guy like that?
Right.
You're seeing it for the first time is what I'm saying when you're in the cage. And, I've taken that into my game of, hey, don't change you. If you fight a certain type of way, definitely polish your game, but don't change you. It makes you different.
Right.
I like Israel Adesanya, super sharp, smart, great showman. I take that. Conor McGregor was awesome when he was in his prime.
Right.
He elevated the whole.
You couldn't stop.
No, he elevated and he elevated the whole game of MMA, and he's a big reason people are getting paid what they're getting paid now.
Right. I think that's when I really started paying.
Yeah, that's when a lot of people start. For sure. And
then he got beat by Habib, right?
He got beat by Habib. And then this is my favorite fighter of all time, Mike Tyson. This ain't even got nothing to do with MMA, but Mike Tyson. I love Mike Tyson.
Did you consider any other like boxing or anything? Always like no?
I would do boxing. I think I could be a great boxer. I would do boxing, kickboxing, MMA. I'm a fighter. I'll do that. Price tag is right. I'll get in there for sure.
So what's like the end goal? What are some of your, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What are some goals you have for your career?
I think for my career, within the 5 years, I'll be in the UFC, no doubt. In my career, I'm definitely going to be champion. I want to help elevate this gym to be a world-renowned gym. I want to provide for my family. And I want to be my pure and authentic self at that level and put on some of the most violent performances y'all have seen. That's what I want to do at that part of my career. Put on some crazy knockouts.
Yeah.
And I will do that.
Hell yeah. Like, what's your pre-fight, like, ritual, or what do you kind of do to get hyped up for a fight? Like,
I don't get hyped up. I get calm. I get calm and more calculated and very almost detached in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you're going in there to do some real different, business. This is not play. This is not football. This is not a sport to me. You know what I mean? You're going in there to put somebody out for real. So I get very calculated, very calm. My breathing's very calm and, get in a flow state. And when it's time to rev up that, monster, let him out. That's what I get into.
Is it like different? Is that a lot different than football? Like,
I think football is more rah. You know what I mean? Like it's but fighting is, that's why I don't attribute who I am as a fighter necessarily to football, because I don't think it translates necessarily. They're different sports. I think all my sports mixed together is what makes me special in this. But you could be a football player, you could throw in this, you'll get gassed quick. This is not football. This is not exploding for 5 seconds. You got 15 minutes in there. And if I find someone who's on that, who just wants to be explosive, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay. So yeah, football is awesome, but very different sport,
Okay. Is there any like type of music or songs or anything?
Honestly, I keep it real chill, almost meditating. I'm doing a lot of breathing, a lot of meditating in the back. Right. I don't need rah-rah to go and do what I need to do. I don't need to change. The difference between me and a lot of guys is a lot of guys put on a mask to walk in that cage, and I'm taking one off. So that's the difference between me and a lot of guys. I'm not acting when I'm going in there. I don't need to become something. I need to be me. What's the
mindset behind that thinking? Because I've heard that from like some, like you might hear that from like a great like Kobe or something. But I feel like most, like you said, would just, okay, I'm gonna get turned up. I'm gonna listen to some, whatever music makes.
I think that's the difference between the people who are really meant to do this, because it's not an act. And when you're in your lane in life, you don't have to act. I don't have to pretend or intimidate you to do what I'm going to do to you. I don't want to intimidate you.
Yeah.
Honestly, that ruins the fun for me. I don't want to intimidate you. I enjoy thoroughly what I do. And what is it that I do? What is this game when you break it down? Hey man, it's me or you. And I enjoy every part of that. And that's why I've been so successful early on. That's why I'm getting the love in this game early on, because I'm meant for it. And when you're in a lane you're meant for, you don't got to put on no act. You don't got to intimidate nobody. We gonna find out regardless. That mask is getting stripped off whether you like it or not. So that's my thought process.
Is there like a dream fight for you? Like someone dead or alive, or you
a dream fight?
Tired, don't matter. Yeah.
I don't think I have a dream fight. No, I think I have performances I want to put on.
Yeah.
Things I want to hit in the fight. You know what I mean? A move I want to hit more than a dream fight. What I do is want a dream event. I want the impact. I want the stars in the building. I want the energy a certain way, and I want to show up on the biggest stage and put on some crazy performance.
Yeah.
That's more of my dream event. I'm very internally focused rather than outwardly.
So when it comes to when you get represented, when you're getting ready to fight, they say where everyone's from. So are you like?
I'm a rep Denver, Colorado. I'm a rep Denver, Colorado. That's where I start. That's where I fight. And that's where I'm fight out of. That's what's giving me so much love. Yeah. And I'm repping Denver, Colorado.
Do you have any like specific memories with Trevor Lawrence or any other like NFL greats?
I have I can just respect Trevor's commitment. One also great teammate, humble dude. And his commitment to his craft, very dedicated, and that's why he got the results he's gotten. He deserves it. Yeah.
Were there any other like NFL players? They obviously played with Deshaun, or
there's so many NFL guys. There's so many NFL guys, so many teammates I have that are awesome. You can look at that whole team. It just was a constant energy of the brand is these guys are dedicated, community members, hard workers, and have belief. And that is, you can go down the line and you can look in the NFL now. That's their brand. It's consistent. Right. So that's what I would say. I want to shout out Havoc MMA. Yeah. I want to shout out Havoc MMA. If you're in the area, if you're in the Westminster area or Denver area, and you want to train martial arts, you want to fight, or you want to scrap, come train, man. Come chase the dream. Come achieve what you're meant to achieve. And if at the minimum, change your life and get in shape. So that's what I would say. I want to shout out Havoc MMA.
Personal question, like when you're watching a fight, how do you kind of study it a little?
Oh yeah, I'm watching live. I'm watching everything. I'm watching. I can start to see, like I said, I'm a quick learner. I can see in the moment, the present moment, what someone's trying to do. What are they trying to get you to do? Just because they throw a leg kick doesn't mean that's what they want to hit you with.
Right.
Ultimately, sometimes they're trying to distract you to get to here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I know I fight. I fight in a way that people think it's more random, and it's not random.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not random. It's just fast and explosive, and it makes you think like, oh, he didn't just. No, I'm seeing my eyes. I'm seeing things. And, I think one of my best attributes is my eyes,
With hockey going back.
Yeah, I think I can see things, and football, another thing, makes you think quick.
Yeah.
And I've got to see, what is this guy actually, who is this person in front of me? You got to diagnose who's in front of you, and everyone's different. So.
Yeah. And then another question I had going back to earlier, you had said that you didn't play football because you weren't allowed to.
Yeah, my parents, they didn't know the rules. It was just a funny time. Like, they didn't know the rules at the time, and they weren't like supporting necessarily playing football at that. Just
because it's dangerous.
No, I was playing rugby at the time. No, it wasn't. It wasn't
fair enough. Yeah, it's even more.
No. It just, like I said, the business aspect of it. My dad's played in the league for a long time. It's a vet. And, there's a business aspect of it, kind of some things I pointed on.
Right.
And there might be better options, for your son to do.
Right.
That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is he pretty supportive now?
Oh man, he's cool. Yeah, he's on the same page.
That's dope.
Yeah, my whole family. Sometimes you gotta make people buy in.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes
I'm sure your mom was like, "What do you think?"
No. Honestly, I would say my mom was on board. My mom's a gangster. You know what I mean? Like, No, I was a
My
gangster.
bad. I don't mean.
No, that's okay. No, I think sometimes you gotta, whatever you want in life, you gotta believe it first,
Yeah.
and then people will start to believe, and that's on you to do. That's not on the fam. So now everyone's on the train. So for sure.
Right. Hell
Yeah.
Okay. Well, make sure y'all go follow Regan Upshaw Jr. the second on everything.
Junior the second.
Yeah.
Regan Upshaw the second.
Go follow,
Yeah, go follow.
and everything, man.
Yeah.
Instagram, YouTube, all that.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all go follow Havoc MMA. Shout out my boy, my man Tim Gelt.
Big Tim.
Make sure y'all go follow him on everything. Appreciate y'all for the interview and
Man, I'm shouting out Mile High Minute, the best station in Colorado, man. Bring you sports and hip hop all year long. Let's go.
Make sure y'all hit that like button. Comment down below the biggest gem you got from this interview. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button to stay notified when all latest news drop.
Come on.
Mile High Man, #1 blog in the universe.